So as you likely saw from the title of the video, we are going to be making a Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, and we're going to do it with this Venus McFlytrap. So first things first, cut off all her hair, and then dunk her head in boiling water, soak it for a while, and pull it off. And then we soak her flocking powder and a little bit of acetone to loosen it up and scrape it off. And proceed to remove the rest of her face with more acetone and rip out the rest of her hair with some pliers. And then here I painted her scalp black because at the time I thought I was going to have a black sort of ombre gradient in her hair because, well, Gamora has that. So at the time, this made sense. And here is the thing that started all of this, Smitten from the Doll Planet. It's one of the random colors I unboxed last week in my blind box video. And here, this is the process that was the bane of my existence. So, this was a bad idea. Do not use this product to try and dye your doll hair, because it doesn't work. Just like every other method I try in this video to dye this hair, the middle of this hair, black. Spoiler alert, it does not work. So yeah, spraying this, looks like it turns it nice and black in the middle, and I cover it well, and then it washes right out. See, here, washed out. Not even a little bit dark, it just sort of clumped the strands together a little bit and made it gross. So yeah, get rid of that. That's garbage. Even though it says that it dyes nylon, not true. At least not nylon doll hair. Then I heard somewhere that India ink dyes doll hair. So I soaked my doll hair in India ink for, I'm gonna say it was probably 6 or 7 hours. And it's pure, undiluted India ink. It is solid India ink. Guess what? That also washed right out. So India ink is a no-go. Great. After that, I tried, this is a cup of boiling water, and this is Rit dye, because Rit dye is supposed to dye nylon hair. So I added some Rit dye and a bit of vinegar because that's supposed to make it work better with nylon. Let it soak for many hours, and in the meantime, while it was doing that, I started doing the face-up. As you can see here, I'm whacking on some pastels before I get started with my watercolor pencils. And I am constantly referencing a picture of Gamora off screen, trying to get the shape of her eyes proper and all that good stuff. This face-up probably took 6 or 7 coats of Mr. Super Clear. Periodically I spray it when I decide my colors need to be a little bit darker, or I like how it looks so far and I don't want to take it off if I accidentally make a mistake. But yeah, after that I move on to some acrylic paint because the whites of the eyes are definitely really difficult to get to be really opaque. The lips I also paint with a green acrylic paint that I mix myself because her lips are that dark green. And then the eyebrows, of course, and the Cupid's bow I highlight. A good tip for acrylic paint is to always have some water and a Q-tip nearby, and really quick soak a spot if you dislike it and lift the paint off before it dries, because that has saved me many times, especially when painting on eyelashes. Last but not least, I grabbed some metallic silver paint and paint on the markings on Gamora's face for a little added detail. I think they look really cool. So here I am blushing the body, since I had the supplies out already, and I go over it with a couple coats of Mr. Super Clear and then a couple coats of DuraClear matte varnish on top of that, just to make it extra bulletproof. And now we're back to the hair. This is after I also tried to stain it with some black soft pastels rather. And as you can see, it's looking a little scraggly from all the washes it's had, and I've given up at this point. Here I've decided that I am going to cut it in half, because I think that half of the hair length is long enough for Gamora's hair. And it's a good thing I did, because I sort of overplugged her a bit, and so I ended up using more than the strands would have allowed for if I hadn't cut them in half. Like, I wouldn't have had enough hair. Here you can see I'm just loading up my rooting tool. This is the tool that I got from the Doll Planet, actually. And yeah, just stab it in there. Pull out the needle and rinse and repeat. Ad infinitum. Watch a movie or some YouTube videos or something, because it's gonna be a long ride. Don't forget to add some Fabri-Tac glue into the neck hole to keep all your new hair plugs in place. At this point, the hair is super floofy and springy and really needs to be boil washed. However, before I do that, Gamora has a part directly down the middle of her hair, and she doesn't have any bangs. So in order to make it not look, you know, kind of sparse, I thatched her part before I boil washed it flat. So here's the thatching, and here's the boil wash. Super hot boiling water poured over Gamora's head, and her head is on a ballpoint pen, I think, just to sort of hold it up and keep it sort of neat, I guess. After that's dry, I use the straws and bobby pins curling technique, and honestly at this point I was just fed up with her hair. I was just sick of her hair. I was so mad that all the methods I tried didn't work, so I just wanted to be done with the hair. What I should have done is be more patient, and I should have only curled the ends of her hair, because that's how Gamora's hair is. But no, I just whacked the straws in because I was just sick of it, and now you can see my camera getting all fogged up from the super hot water I'm pouring over Gamora's head, followed by super cold water, and then super hot water and super cold water back and forth a couple of times to set the curls. The only piece of clothing I have to show you how I made are her shoes. I took these Monster High shoes, and first I cut the tops to sort of match the shape of Gamora's boots. And then, once that was done for both sides, I moved on to making that heel. In order to do that, I put some hot glue on a glass jar, because I figured that the cold glass would hopefully let the hot glue separate a little bit more easily. So yeah, I put a glob of hot glue on the bottle and then stuck each boot onto it to give it a sort of base, if you will. And then, so see, I stuck both of them to that. I filled in underneath the heel so that it still had that sort of cutout shape, but also had a little bit more structure to it, because as it was awfully thin and probably wasn't going to work out so well. Then, once that was dry, I removed them from the glass jar, and this is what I was left with, which was perfectly fine as far as I was concerned. It just needed to be trimmed up a little bit, which you easily do with scissors. So cut it into the right shape, and it looks a little janky right now, but I promise it'll look better in a couple of minutes. So after that, I put each shoe onto its own little pen and painted them black because Gamora's boots are black. It was then that I realized that Gamora's boots don't have laces up the front, so I decided I would also fix that with more hot glue. So I just used hot glue to put a layer over the top of the laces to basically make them smooth. Once they were smooth, I laid them on my towel and let them dry. And once it was cool and opaque, I got a little bit more black paint and coated those as little mounds of glue as well. And once all that was dry, I coated them with Duraclear matte varnish. And here's the finished product. Anyway, so if you liked this doll face-up, let me know in the comments below if there are any characters that you'd like to see. I'd be happy to oblige. In the meantime, like if you liked, subscribe for more doll face-ups and customs, and I will talk to all of you soon. Bye! Oreo, hi, what are you doing?